Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm recording a video for you guys on diagnosing HA. I've done this before, but I want to do it a little bit differently. More about just do you need a medical professional to diagnose you with HA? And this isn't a yes or no. I'm just gonna talk about what we see and how ways that you can consider whether or not that's a route you want to take. When we do consult calls with people for coaching, so you can work with us, right? Fill out an application and then we'll send you the option to just straight discuss coaching. Do you want to be a client, like straight out the gate? Or we'll do a pre-consult with people where they just pay $80. We take them through our intake process, we look at their lab work, all that kind of thing, give them feedback on their diagnosis and maybe even a strategy to move forward. Then if they do want to work with us to move forward in that process, we'll take the $80 off their coaching fee and so on and so forth, and we'll move on our way. And in that process, we come across a lot of I'm not sure I want to take this recovery route until I know for certain this is HA, right? And that's fair enough. The thing is, it's not really that hard to know if you have HA. So what we do find too is some people have already got lab tests that confirm it or something like that, but they've heard one piece of contradictory information, maybe from a medical professional, and they can't let it go because to take the process of resting more and eating enough, gaining weight to get their period back is such a huge, I know I sound like being sarcastic with this, but you guys know I've been there too. Right, I totally get it. But making that decision to eat more and rest is such a huge commitment. It's like getting a bone marrow transplant. It's like a huge decision that some of us will go to the end of the earth to find out exactly if this is HA before you're willing to even try recovery, right? And so certainly before people are willing to invest money in our program, and that totally makes sense. I think that that's fair. They want to get help from the right practitioner before they invest the money and go down that path. So when we do our consults and we have our new clients, we look at the lab work that they may get from their practitioner. And some people won't always get lab work. And that's okay. We can usually figure it out. Having lab work helps us be 110% sure. Without lab work, generally we can be 100% sure of what's going on for the most part. And then there's a few people where it's a bit oh, maybe you're actually dealing with some kind of PCOS or a situation of both. It can get a bit more complex, but that's what the calls are for, right? So a lot of people, including the internet, will be get medical professional's advice. Totally agree. Full disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what to do. But here's what we see. We see a lot of poor help and information from a lot of different practitioners in the medical field. Some of them are on top of it. More and more we're coming across practitioners, GPs, OBGYNs, these people who are aware of HA. But more often than not, they're just confused. Well, ma'am, your BMI is totally perfect. Doesn't make any sense. You don't look like you have HA. Your lab work is all coming back normal, blah, blah, blah. You don't have HA. You probably have PCOS or unexplained infertility, or just I just don't think your period is missing because you're overexercising. It's probably something else. You're probably fine. You're about to ovulate. Look at your lab work. Even though you're not about to ovulate, your lab work always looks this way. We see a lot of that, so it's not helpful, right? And so to say your medical professional when it comes to HA should have the last say, I'm just not there, guys. I can't do it. I can't advocate for it. I just can't say that your doctor is the best at determining your diagnosis because that's not what I've seen in practice. That's just not our experience. So you can go to your doctor, but be aware that they might get it wrong. but it's helpful to get the lab work, so get it anyways, right? And then you can bring it to a practitioner. You can take that lab work to like us, and we'll review it and tell you what it is, right? We'll look at estrogen, progesterone, LH, FSH, prolactin, just to like rule out hyperprolactemia or something like that. And you know, some other markers can be helpful too, like fasting glucose, HA1C. But for the most part, those reproductive hormones, estrogen, progesterone, LH and FSH, are going to be like really, really helpful for helping us see, are you low, are you normal, are you low normal, or is everything elevated, right? And if it is all low or normal and you have not had a period like for a year or more, we can stop talking about PCOS. We can stop talking about these other things. You resonate with the stories we're telling you. You have a history of exercise, you have a history of controlling your weight, you have a history of dieting, you're highly strung, perfectionistic, type A, yada yada. We can just like face the fact at this point that we have the labs to resolve it. We have all of the symptoms that go with it. You know, we just like make it, this makes sense for us. We can just go with it at this point. You know, that's kind of all you need, is to see those numbers and whether or not they match up with the reference ranges inside of HA. And if you're in the HA Society, if you're a member of our community, you will have access to those reference ranges and ways to kind of look at whether or not you have HA. Or you can do a consult with us to figure it out. But I just wanted to share that with you if you're on the fence about like my is this HA, is this not situation. And I have other videos about like PCOS versus HA, getting your diagnosis, things like that. We have tons of resources for it. But it's just important. It's just important that you know that like with this topic, the medical field doesn't have it down yet. They're not ready, and that's okay. We have compassion for this. Right, they're not trained in it, they're not seeing it, where in a world where it seems like the bigger problem is actually obesity, not girls being too healthy. This is just confusing. It's totally confusing. It makes sense that it's confusing and that it's not where most doctors go. When 9 out of their 10 clients are dealing with the result of living, you know, sedentary, highly processed food based lives, you know what I mean? Then you come in and you're totally throwing them for a loop. Right? So we get it. We have to take that context into account. We have to be compassionate. I know that not all of our doctors are going to fully understand what it takes to get this diagnosis, that anyone can have this, even if you're a normal body weight, even if you don't have an eating issue, you know, these things. These are really important to remember if you're trying to get your diagnosis. I hope this was helpful, guys. If you have any questions about your diagnosis, please let me know. And remember, again, you can chat with us. You can send us your lab work. Or you can just go through our intake process where we really ask you a lot of questions to understand how you're eating, how you're exercising, your history, to help you get to the bottom of like, is this the right path for me? Is this actually my issue? We can do all that. So I have links in the show notes to work with us in a coaching capacity or join the HA Society, which is our kind of community where we group coach, and you have direct access to us. You can ask questions through the DMs and things to me and our other coaches. So it's really cool if you just have like a question here or there. So go learn about that. It's all in the show notes below. If this was a helpful episode for you, amazing. I'm so glad. Let's talk soon. Let me know in the comments, and like and subscribe because it brings me joy. Because it brings me so much joy. Okay, bye guys.